Who is responsible for frontline retention? Joining us today to speak about and to answer that important question, Rachel Bates, Chief Revenue Officer at WorkStep. Rachel, it's good to see you. Welcome.
Likewise, thank you for having me, Russell. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Rachel, it occurs to me maybe what we might want to do is kind of start from the top with one of the very important functions in an enterprise, and that would be HR, human resources. What do you say is the role of the HR department? Walk us through that.
For frontline retention, I think it all starts with hiring. So making sure that you have the right people in place. So talent acquisition typically rolls up through HR, and more organizations I'm working with today are not just saying I just need to bring people in, but I need to bring in the right people to have them stay. So thinking about setting realistic job expectations, thinking about recruiting a diverse workforce, thinking about how do we make sure that we get people who know all about our benefits and career paths and opportunities to grow within the company. That all starts with the HR and the talent acquisition team. Moving beyond talent acquisition, oftentimes HR are responsible for onboarding, and then also employee engagement. So the annual survey, which is typically done once a year, is something that works very well for office desk-based workers, but for frontline workers, how can they get more engagement points throughout the year for people who might not be sat at a desk, who might not speak English, who might not be trusting in terms of the information that they're sharing. So there's a lot that HR can play in terms of helping support the frontline workers and the ops teams that they support in that sense.
Given that we're talking to each other at the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals at the annual conference, let's talk for just a moment about what you might be looking for in a potential hire in the supply chain world, in the logistics world. What might be some of the things that you need to be considering if someone is there looking for a job?
Yep. So few things. I think one is that we talked on the opening session about making marketing the profession a little bit more in terms of the opportunities that exist in there. Setting really clear upfront expectations. So if you're in cold storage, you need to say that that's the case. If you're in schedules and expectations, some people want overtime, some people don't. They need to know whether they can commute to the job, or whether it's going to take them 3 buses to get to the role. So all that type of information up front. Pay is obviously front and center, but we find that career paths is actually one of the number one things too. Frontline workers are no different from desktop workers or professional workers, and they want to see when they join a company that this is going to be someone that's going to help them grow over time.
Let's turn to ops. Let's turn to operations now. The role that you see there, what would you say?
Yeah, I think all ops for retention, the role of ops and retention is really about strong leadership. So that can start at the facility level, district level, but making sure that they're actively engaged with their workers and down to the supervisors. So being visible, being present, addressing issues. So give you some real examples. Safety is a huge issue on the floor. If people don't feel safe in the environment, perhaps they don't have the right equipment to wear, gloves are worn out, or forklift truck drivers are driving too fast, then those are things that need to be addressed immediately. Otherwise, people will feel unsafe and they know they have options and they will go. I think another thing is being more flexible about the new opportunities in the workforce that is out there today. We've heard nonstop at this conference about the gig worker and how they are looking for more flexibility, and that requires adapting to change and new technologies, partnering with HR in terms of implementing and testing new things which might work for those environments.
Well, now, this is interesting. You just mentioned a very important word, partnering.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these two different areas, ops and HR. Let's talk about how they can work together. So walk us through that. What's going on?
It's critical for any type of strategic partnership. I mean, the best companies I see, it's hand in hand and they're partnering together. I think that comes with having common goals and a common set of data and KPIs that they're looking to measure. So both being responsible for retention metrics, both being responsible for getting HR for getting the feedback from the employees, and ops taking action on that feedback, both in short-term decisions such as safety or on the job, very tactical type decisions, to long-term decisions about, okay, if we are going to increase pay, where is it going to have the biggest impact? Who needs this most, using real-time data, understand why people are leaving, why not, and where to best allocate those resources.
Really interesting. They're not separate silos. They
No.
are in this together.
100%, 100%.
Rachel, final question. Somebody, I gather, they probably have gleaned that you're involved in this area somewhat, but let's talk about WorkStep itself, precisely what it's focused on, and how is it that the company is optimizing or enhancing the operations of the folks that you're working with your client base. What do you say?
Yep, 100%. So WorkStep, our mission is to make the supply chain a better place to work. We have a retention management software, which is used by collecting anonymized employee data at key milestones. So for example, day 7, day 30, day 90. We take that data, create action plans around it that ops typically take place, and we get analytics over time to help drive reductions in turnover over time. We work with companies like NFI, DHL, and Pepsi, and all help them reduce their frontline turnover for first-year hires in the first year.
Great stuff. Listen, we're talking to each other here at the conference. I know you're busy, but you found time to speak with us. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Russell. Thank you for having me.
It's Rachel Bates, WorkStep, speaking with us today about retention of the frontline worker, perhaps in your enterprise. Thanks for watching.